From the PewDiePie watchers to the TechMoan fans, ladies and gentlemen of YouTube, I am Clementine, and as always, I'm
Super Saiyan.
some crazy stuff, but never mind that. This is a 1967 General Electric Porta Fi that we're converting into a guitar amplifier. In the last video, we created an input, we designed a tone stack, and built it. We also designed a dirty gain circuit and a clean gain circuit. And we built the dirty gain circuit on a DIY
Circuit board.
We also designed and built a reverb for only $1. And in this video, we're going to design and build a tremolo and finish the circuits completely and assemble this amp 100%. So just keep watching. Kick your feet up, eat you a Tide Pod, and
roll that beautiful bean footage.
Ooh, Clementine Electronics, boy, yeah.
So this is where we were at the end of the last video. We had the dirty gain circuit running there on the ground all put together, and it was going through the reverb, through the amplifier, and everything was sounding pretty awesome. So now it's time to talk about tremolo. This thing is a light sensor, a light dependent resistor, otherwise known as an LDR.
This is a component normally used to control light sensing devices such as this little Christmas tree.
When this receives light, it lets stuff through it. So when you blink a light at it, it's the same as turning the volume up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. And that creates tremolo. As an example, here's a unit that I built previously from a European siren and an internet router. Now, the first thing I needed to do was make an oscillator to blink the light. And to do this, I looked at this video by Look Mom No Computer. It's lovely jubbly, and it will be linked in the description. That is, if I don't forget, in the that's what it looks like blinking. So, now it's time to kick some Clementine jams, rev up the video to fast forward, and build these DIY circuit board.
If you build it, you will come.
Come, and it goes on and on and on. I know this is dumb, friends, but there are people that still haven't got it, so bear with me. When I say come, it means come. And I'm coming, you're coming. When I turn to my son and I say come, I want them to come. That word come is universal in its application. Come!
Okay, first thing is that I drill some holes. I had previously marked out the schematic onto here so I could see what I was doing. This is how you make a DIY circuit board out of wood. Oh, look like I missed one. And there you go. There's the schematic there. Now we got a transistor going in here, it seems like. Now we're going to place some wires as traces. More wires. There's old strippers I found in my yard when I moved to this house. They're better than the new ones I bought. Then the old LED. Now I put a capacitor in, but I put it in wrong. At least I put it in the right direction.
And you can see a tiny negative sign beside it. That means that that side needs to be connected to ground or negative.
Okay, so looks like I'll put the other capacitors in there now. That's the capacitor staging I talked about in the last video. If you don't know what I'm talking about, you may want to go watch that last video. Now I'm still in a adjustable resistor from an old television circuit board. Stripping some more wires. Ah, there's that resistor. Those will be used for tuning biased. Get it the right way around in there. And you can see I've twisted these wires together. Most of these wires that I'm coming out of here, that's because you twist a wire together, it takes apart the capacitance from the wire, and it will be just a lot quieter. Twisty, twisty, twisty. Twist it like my hair. There's our inputs and outputs. Power wire. Now I got the soldering iron out. Put some ugly solder on the back of this. And like I said in the last video, you can comment in the doobly-doo below that this solder is ugly, but I'll comment that it works. I never claimed to be good at soldering. There's the gain potentiometer for the clean circuit. Okay, there's another potentiometer. I don't know exactly what it's for right now. This was like a month ago. Now, take a gander at this. Like I said, I don't profess myself to be great at soldering. And as you're going to see, this thing did not even stick. I mean, look at this. Yeah,
Fuck you, you piece of shit! Suck my cock!
Now, as you can see, this time I make love to her good. I use my tool and I get her to stick. Okay, and I had to do a bodge wire here. I put a resistor in there that wasn't needed. It gave me too little bit of control on the bias circuit, which is also the gain circuit. It's basically how much 9 volts is going into the transistor. I had it all twisted together now as a good wiring harness, and I put me a good zip tie in there to hold her down. And this here is a switch that switches between the dirty gain circuit and the clean gain circuit. Basically just switched output. And then next, I hook up the Fender tone stack that I built. Solder it again. Soldering iron.
Hey! You're talking to my guy all wrong. It's the wrong tone. Do it again, I'll stab you in the face with a soldering iron.
I really couldn't tell you why that working on electronics always makes cats come around, but it sure does. This is my cat, Cotton.
Kitty, I'm a foot in a wall to touch it. Kitty, I'm a foot in a wall to touch it. Kitty, I'm a foot in a wall to touch it. Kitty, I'm a foot in a wall to touch it.
The potentiometer here that cuts back the tone stack, so you can bypass the tone stack variably. And here I am attaching it to the tone stack. I'm doing some more potentiometers over here for later. That's gonna go all in the tremolo circuit. Yeah, this was a lot of soldering right here. Now I'm drilling the holes. to build the reverb circuit. I mean the tremolo circuit, not reverb. That was the last video. Zip, 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 zip. There we go. Got the tremolo all done up right there. Alright, now I'm wiring up the standby switch.
No, I won't.
Stand by me, oh, stand by me. Okay, now I'm populating the board with the components, as Sam would say, the components. It's a simple circuit. You've gotta watch Look Mom Know Computers video. That's the simplest oscillator I've ever seen, reverse avalanche. That's like 4 parts. Okay, then I'm using this tape to hold everything down so I can flip it over and all the components will fall out. That's about as good of a tip as I can give you on this soldering and building stuff thing. I'm learning as I go. I let the magic smoke out of things. Hey, but when the genie came out, he didn't give me any wishes. I was like, I wish it didn't catch on fire. Okay. Solder. Clip everything off. Now there we go. We got it done. So I try to straighten up the wiring harness a little bit more. Tidy everything up. Oh, check out this power solution I came up with. I could have just used a transformer and a
Full bridge rectifier.
but I decided to just use a wall wart. That's the same wall wart I prototyped everything with, so why not? That's the exact power that this was designed on. It seemed more simple to me. Simple and elegant. And of course, cable ties. Duct tape and cable ties for the win. There's some flux. If you have to solder to something that's thick and not hard to get to solder, always use flux. There we go. See, I'm just putting the power wire straight to it. Then I'll put some shrink wrap on here. I want to make sure the shrink wrap doesn't come off, because that's a 110 volts AC. That could really get you, or burn your house down. So I put zip ties on it after I put the shrink wrap on, so the shrink wrap cannot come off. Clip, 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 clip. More cable ties, of course. Well, alrighty then. Really. These two jacks are the audio inputs.
Input. More input.
Okay, so now I'm soldering a switch in between the two inputs. And the reason for that being so that I can connect them together. It's the same way that people used to take a Fender Bassman and make a little short cord and hook the low gain and high gain inputs together. When you do that, you get a dumble sound. Okay, then I connect the grounds together. That way I don't have to run 2 wires. Alright. Smoke pokey solder. Don't breathe that stuff, guys. If you can, put a fan on it. What I do is I just hold my breath. I'll hold my breath and then go and blow out. Oh, and you also have to solder these cheap jacks together, or they'll turn around on themselves, they'll spin. And here I did the same thing on the output. I thought about it, I was like, why don't I make it where I can run the low and high gain circuits at the same time? And when you clip them both on, it sounds like a Dumble. And a Dumble was like $15,000 new, and now they're going for like $150,000. All it is a copy of a Fender tube amp with some solid state gain circuits, which is exactly what I've built here. And of course my cabinet has a tube amp in it. There's the output. I don't have a video of anybody going,
Output, Stephanie, no disassemble.
more zip ties. I wanted everything good and secure. That way, like, if I move this around, it doesn't short itself up. Yeah, there's my wife.
On it. I said, grab it. Oh, dude, you're gonna tear it apart.
Little Mexico fingers. Okay, so I started drilling the holes in the box. I've had this thing in my living room floor for about maybe 3 months in all kinds of pieces, so I really have to thank my wife a whole lot. She puts up with a lot of stuff. She's let me rebuild a carburetor on the living room table before. You can't say that about a lot of women. She knows that I don't feel well, so I mean, I have to sit when I do stuff, and it's better for me to be in the air conditioning. I drilled this hole here because there was this divider in there. You can't put the back on without this divider, and I needed one of the potentiometers to be on the other side of it. I didn't look at the divider while I was drilling the holes for the face. I'm glad I didn't drill right into it. So here's Medusa, and it's time to do assembly. I'm going to assemble.
Reassemble.
Huh?
Reassemble.
I can't reassemble him. You squashed him. He's dead.
Okay, here I go trying to put all the components to the front of the cabinet, and the front of the cabinet was a whole lot thicker than I thought it was, and this is just very, very hard to do. I was having like a Happy Gilmore moment, like the hole is the components home, and then I was like, are you too good for your home?
Son of a bitch, Paul, why didn't you just go home? That's your home! Are you too good for your home? Answer me!
Okay, so I finally got that stuff to the front. And here goes another potentiometer, but the front's so thick I have to break the tab off of it. It's supposed to keep it from spinning around. That part's made to dig into the wood and hold it straight, but I couldn't even use a washer because it was so thick. I just had to tighten them real tight where they wouldn't spin. There's me breaking off one from another one. And there is a standby switch in my hand there. And there's a power switch over there. These kind of became important later, but you'll see and hear about that. There's kind of a combination. You're supposed to cut the standby switch on, and then cut the power on, and then cut the standby switch off. Yeah, probably should have labeled those. But here we go with the rest of it. And this was so difficult that at a certain point, I just had to go and sit down on the couch with it in my lap and finish it up. Because I was trying to video it, I was trying to be all bent over, and I was getting really frustrated. I thought this was the easiest part. Okay, yeah, we're almost done. I've got the holes in it. I'm just going to put it together. Oh, guys, when you get to building your cabinet and putting it together and you have this big Medusa of wires, that's where it gets difficult. I mean, if you can keep up with what goes where, I just kind of stuck things wherever it would fit and then thought, well, I'll learn the amplifier after I get it all together. There is both the standby switches and then the the channel selected switches. See, I'm looking, what wire will fit over here? Nope, not that one. That was the tremolo mix. Then this is after I'd put everything together. I went and sat down on the couch. What ended up having to go all the way over there was the tremolo speed. That was the only one long enough. So I'm securing it with a little rubber gasket or rubber spacer that I made out of a ink pen jelly grip. Take the wrench, tighten it down real good so it don't move nowhere. Then we have to put the output out the back. I thought maybe I could put it out of that square hole, but it didn't fit, so I had to drill a hole for that. Oh, about this point, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna plug this baby up. I mean, I'd already heard everything on the bench. I knew it was gonna be awesome. You can't just put something together and then try it. You don't know if it's gonna work. You don't know what kind of problems you're gonna have with it. So I'm putting it all back together, and after I got it together, I ended up playing this thing for like about a month, I guess. It's been maybe a month since I finished it. A fantastic amplifier. I cannot believe that I built something that sounds this good myself. If somebody told me that they paid 10 grand for it, I would totally believe it. The way it sounds, I've never heard nothing that sounds like this. It's fantastic. But, you know, there was this thing. Sam told me that when you build, in that video that he was talking about, when you build that reverse avalanche oscillator, you're supposed to put a resistor in line with the LED. And I didn't do that. And about a week in, the LED burned. And I kept playing it anyway. I kept using the amp anyway. And one of my gain knobs became microphonic, meaning that you could thump it or scratch it and it would make sound through the amp. And that tells you right there that it had a ground issue. After the LED burned, it was not coupled from positive to ground. The positive was running straight into the ground, and the ground was running through the positive. So then this happened.
Goddamn cheap amplifiers.
Well, maybe that's because all the parts I built it out of was from Donald Trump's favorite country. Or maybe not, because Dumbles were made with the same cheap parts, and they're $150,000. Yeah, what had happened is that I turned off the power. I mean, I turned off the power and left the standby on, and it like tried to die slowly. No, I turned off the power and left the standby on, and it killed out slowly and let the LED get really bright, and it had burned out. And during that whole time, I was so stoked on this amp that I didn't make a single bit of audio example. So I mean, yeah, I know.
Oh shit! Fuck!
But either way, in the next video in this series, I'm gonna go ahead and fix the amp, and then we'll take it in the studio and put a proper microphone on it and run it through a good audio system so you can hear what it actually sounds like, because this thing is crazy good. You may want to subscribe so you don't miss that. And I promise I'll do a good full review of the amp. I'll show you all the different sounds it makes, and we'll record it great. And it'll sound even better than this. And as well, I have several new video series coming up. In the next year, I'm going to blow this channel wide open. I'm going to do a repair on a Kenwood stereo receiver that has burned traces and melted metal inside.
Well, like that redneck comedian that does with Larry the Cable Guy, Bill Engvall, he'll say, "There's your sign." Well, there's your sign.
Kenwood, so light stuff on fire. I'm also gonna show you how to turn a cheap DIY guitar kit from eBay into an awesome custom Fender Telecaster.
Oh, this guitar is going to be absolutely beautiful. That is fantastic. Wow. Okay. So, you may be asking yourself, why mess with analog equipment like this? Why try to build things in this world where we have free VSTs and things? Well, the music you've been listening the whole time, in the video made with this guitar I built from parts when I was 12. This little analoger that I built from a wall wart and a couple of LEDs and a potentiometer. This bass that the guy at the pawn shop sold me for 80 bucks because he thought it was a piece of crap. This little noise generator that I created out of a cheap DIY circuit board learning thing that I got at Hobby Lobby. I sampled everything through this toy keyboard, that cheap little toy keyboard. It just happens to sample. I used this for effects. I ran it through this tape player for compression, and the drums you hear is from this little drum machine I got at the thrift store for almost nothing. Now the flute you hear is this little recorder. I got this out of a storage unit that I cleaned, and it didn't cost anything. And check this out. If you think I'm full of it, I'm gonna set this down right here and give you a little sample of what I did. Let's see here if I can remember what I did in the song. Let's see. There we go. That's exactly what I did. Now I recorded that. Into here, and when I needed it to happen, I just went do 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 tack do doom do tack doom doom tack. Do 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 do, and that's why you build your own equipment. Nobody else can make the same sound you have if you have all this little junk here. Just everything can make sound. I have a whole thing in my room just full of just junk, and I hope to show a lot more of that in the next year. I'm really gonna get on YouTube. You're really gonna see a bunch of stuff. All right, guys. Until next time.